Welcome back to the Peace and Purpose podcast. My name is Corbin Elliott, and I am your just brilliant, charismatic, handsome host. And today I wanted to get talking about some things, specifically about a specific mindset and a way of talking to yourself that can help you to just deal with things a little bit better on a weekly basis at work in the job that you currently have. So I really want to spend some time figuring out how we can feel better in the current role we're in, as opposed to trying to jump ship before we put some of these things into place. So let's get started. So one thing that I really see a lot of my friends, myself, and listeners, viewers who have spoken to me have a similar problem. This is something I've noticed. It is negative self-talk, specifically negative self-talk that spirals into overwhelm. I just had a moment of this right before I started recording, and I hope to present a couple of tools that have been shown in studies to help, and hopefully they can help you. So the first thing that I would mention is talking to yourself in the third person as opposed to in the first person. And what that means is, whenever you've got this internal dialogue going on, as opposed to referring to yourself as I, referring to yourself as your name. So for me, Corbin. So instead of saying, I had a really hard time on that project last week that I was working on, as opposed to saying Corbin had a hard time with that project last week. This does a couple of things, but the really important thing that it does is it helps us to dissociate with the problems. So it helps us to not be the thing that the problems are acting on, not being in the hurricane, but it allows us to have a perspective that's outside of that, so that now we don't have the tendency to be overwhelmed as we did before, because we don't feel like we are the subject that things are happening to, that these negative things are happening to. And that helps us to one, just ease our anxiety or overwhelm, all these things that are super common, and I know I have problems with them. It helps us to ease that, and it simultaneously helps us to look at it from a more objective standpoint, to where now we can have more productive conversations with ourselves, which sounds crazy, but it's true. The second thing I'd recommend doing, once you have that third person idea baked in, is treating yourself like you would treat a friend. So think about this. A close friend of yours comes up and they really need some advice. They really need some support. They're not feeling confident. Maybe they're feeling a little insecure, whatever it is. Trying to approach the conversation that you're having with yourself in the same way that you would approach it with a friend. So if that friend walks up, you're not going to be saying, oh, you should have done this, this, and this, and you messed this up, and you messed this up. Generally, in a friend-to-friend conversation, you're going to do your best to be supportive. You're going to say, I know it is like, we've had a tough week, but, next week's going to be better. It's going to be better. And talking to your friend, saying, I think you have so many redeemable qualities that are going to help you to be in a better place in the future. And I really believe that. And if you can take that mindset whenever you're talking to yourself, pretend like you're talking to the friend, embody that, think about that. And it'll help you to talk to yourself in a more kind way, which is something we're totally missing, especially with people who have some A-type personality characteristics, and what I mean by that is just people who have to have it right, and we're achievers, and I think a lot of you are. You come from this headspace. We're achievers, and we're trying to do all these things properly and do them right and check things off and be the person that we project that we're supposed to be. And the problem with that is, in the pursuit of doing that, we are always finding the negative in ourselves. And that just destroys and the negative just in our personality, and negative anything we've ever done, all these little things. We're just looking for them, and then we're just spinning them around in our head and spinning them around in our head over and over again. But if you take the position like you are a friend, it helps you to not continue to ruminate on these things, but instead to support yourself and be less overwhelmed because you aren't continuing just to punch yourself in the face with, you suck. The project last week was no good. This week's going to be no different because of all these other negative things you've done without taking into account the positive things or the more hopeful side of things. So, to recap, speak to yourself in the third person. It'll help you to release. I know today I've been having a really tough day, and using these things to get my footing has really been helpful, and to relieve some things. And so the third person thing really helps. And secondly, treating yourself like a friend. Treating yourself with compassion. Treating yourself with understanding. Doing these things because it will make a positive impact. It'll help you to feel less overwhelmed regardless of where you are, because I feel you. I get it. But these tools are things I'm actively using, and I hope you can use them to benefit as well. So, with that said, I hope this stuff is helping. I hope that I can put out some things that will help to relieve your Monday dread and the things that come along and how tough it is to work and to just live as a human. So I really hope that a lot of the things that I present can help you. And if they are helping you, please leave a comment if you're on YouTube, or leave a review if you're on Apple Podcasts or wherever, or even pop over to my website, and I've got my contact information on there, and send me a message. I want to hear from you guys. So please do that. And like I said, with subscribing, it helps you, because if I put something out and maybe that's a day you need something encouraging, or need a tool to think about things a little differently, go to that. And if you subscribe, you'll get an update, and you'll know when I post, and you'll know the topic I'm posting on.